So for people who don't know, this is an update. I used to have a cat called Chickpea, love of my life. She passed away in August. That was really hard. In December, I adopted a new cat. Once I was feeling like ready to do that, because losing Chickpea was really hard. Her name is Layla, named after the one in the Layla Khalid. And she has gotten a lot more comfortable, but she's definitely still like a bit nervous. So when we had the like redeem channel points for me to show you a cat thing, it was a lot easier with Chickpea because Chickpea would always sleep or hang out in like on beds or on sofas or on boxes, and it was very easy to find her, and she was very good natured, and so she would let me pick her up and she would let me hold her and I could show her to you very easily. Layla is very nervous and she loves hiding in like dark corners, and it really stresses her out when you try to pick her up. She really doesn't like being picked up. But there's a possibility you will see her during the stream at some point tonight, because she has figured out how to climb on top of my desk, because sometimes she really just likes to be near you but also to have her space. So she's figured out how to sit like here on the desk. So she might end up doing that at some point, and then you can meet her. I can introduce her to the Game Assist community. She is an elusive queen, it's true. And she's real for that, to be honest. So, okay. Anyway, yeah, let's get back into Alan Wake.
I came to Bright Falls with my wife, Alice.
Thank you for coming here with me. I thought maybe you could write here.
I don't want to hear it. God damn it, Alice.
Now, she's missing.
Alice? Alice?
I woke up behind the wheel of a crashed car. I'm missing a week. I was attacked by shadowy men straight from a nightmare.
God.
The sheriff took me to the lake Alice and I had stayed at, but the cabin had disappeared.
That is what happened. Episode 2, Taken. I really hope that this ends with them getting a divorce, but I know that that's not going to happen. Yeah. New York City 3 years ago. God, clean shaven is not working for you, buddy.
Honey, I'm home.
Honey, I'm home.
Here, sweetie. How was it?
Worst weather I've ever seen.
You should put some coffee on. It'll warm you up.
Wow, okay. Now this game is going to try and do some, like, scene setting and character building, and I'm going to be completely and utterly not compelled by any of it. That's my prediction. Could be wrong. I'm always open to being wrong. Let's turn on the coffee machine later. I want to have a look around Mr. Wake's house. This guy is fucking loaded. And I knew that that was going to be the case, but look at this fucking house. These enormous windows, and it's a snowstorm outside. Do you know how much money they must be spending on heating? And look at the size of these rooms and the size of these windows. Do you know how much money they must be spending on heating? This is fucking crazy. This is what the fuck. Like, I knew that he was loaded, but I'm just sorry. I'm just processing. I'm just processing this house.
Hey, handsome. This is gonna be a long night, but these shots are turning out great.
I guess you're gonna need that coffee then. I'll go put it on.
The fuck? She's developing photos of him? Is that what's happening? And they're these awful fucking... Ah! Look at these photos! Okay, that one's genuinely... I don't know what you're doing. Unless this is like the headshot of Bill Pullman in Lost Highway, where he's like shrouded in darkness because it's a movie about like how violent and evil men are. And these two are horrible. What's going on, Alan? What's going on? Why are you doing that pose with the leg up, and why do you look like you shat the bed in the one with your arms crossed? This is not good for you, Alan. That's okay. I guess that's a photograph that you have hanging in your house as well. So what exactly is your relationship with your wife? Do you also work together? Because that seems to be what's going on, and it doesn't seem to be doing good for them, you know? God, okay. He's got multiple offices, so there's that. Okay, let's read a couple manuscript pages.
It's true what they say about the fall and the sudden stop at the end. I'd lain here in the snow while the lurid chain of scenes that had led me here kept playing in my head. A rerun of my own private snuff movie. A memory of my corpse. Alone at my own wake. Thinking in metaphors again. The femme fatale was gone. Only a sour taste remained of the kiss that killed me.
This is awful. Men writing be like...
This was a late goodbye. 13 years after I'd gotten my revenge, it had finally caught up with me. It had been a long time to bear the pain. My blood painted the snow red. A gruesome slushy.
A gruesome
dissolved
slushy.
all the scattered painkillers and leisurely dripped down to the sewer, mingling with the bile of the city, becoming one with it. I can see them now. My wife and my baby. Honey, I'm home.
This is terrible. This is a best-selling author who's like rich, and this is one of his published novels. It's fucking awful. Hi, Austin. Welcome. Not the gruesome slushy. A gruesome slushy. A gruesome slushy. Honey, I'm home. This... wow. Okay. Alan Wake. Okay, so he's been quite a prolific writer. The Fall of Casey, The Things That I Want, Alex Casey, What I Can't Forget, Return to Sender. And it's all, okay, it's all part of a series, the Alex Casey thrillers. So presumably the reason why his wife and his agent are putting pressure on him is because he's writing a book series that he hasn't completed. And instead of George R.R. Martining about it, and being like, fuck you, I'm going to take 20 years to write the next book. He's being like coerced into a vacation because his life is so hard. How's it going, you guys? Faye, Austin, how are you doing today? Jesus, they're the people. They have 2 sinks. Look at the size of this bathroom. These people are so rich. Sorry, how many games do I play where I like walk around the character's house in the game and I just talk about how rich they are and how much it's giving me despair to... Okay, wait, is this an apartment? Yeah, it's an apartment. Okay, well, it's a fancy fucking apartment. They're in New York, right? So it's one of those, like, the interior is modern and the exterior is, like... Okay. Where does he... Yeah. Yeah. This apartment in New York... This guy's fucking loaded.
The continuing freezing rain and heavy snowfall have necessitated a winter storm warning in the entire tri-state area. People are advised to stay indoors as many roadways are already closed. And city officials are not expecting snow crews to keep up with the weather. We're now on the 3rd day of the blizzard, and the weather is not expected to clear up anytime soon.
Would be millions? Yeah, like millions in rent, millions in buying price. I don't really have a sense of it, but I know, like, in a way similarly to London, which is, I guess, the closest example in the UK of, like, how expensive shit is, like, to the point that London salaries and London prices are just, like, a world of their own. That, like, living in a closet in New York is already crazy expensive. This is fucking bonkers. Okay, I think I've explored most of the apartment. Oh, it's actually snowing where you are? Nice, very nice. It hasn't snowed here in a while, which is sad because, like, I'm not much of a winter person, but when it snows I'm finally and when it's sunny I'm like, everything's gonna be okay, it's so pretty. Okay, I think I've explored, so I'm gonna go make Alice her coffee now.
Coffee's on.
Great, thanks. I'll need it if I'm gonna finish this by tomorrow.
Go to Alice. Okay, what are you working on? Like, is she?
Oh, hey, I just finished those cover mock-ups. They're on your desk. Tell me what you think.
I was gonna
No
be like,
kidding.
is she?
I didn't think you'd get them done this quickly.
On occasion, I can perform all sorts of miracles, my dear.
Oh,
Right.
really?
Okay, so she's working on a book cover.
Well, you seem to think so last night.
Ew. Okay. She is. It's book covers. These headshots are for book covers because they're awful. Alice, is she a graphic designer? Is she a photographer? Alice, I'm really sorry. These shots are awful, and it's only partly because Alan's energy is rancid. I think it's also because they're just like, what's going on with the lighting here? I think the one on the left is kind of nice if you're going for something a little dark and edgy and a little creepy, but I don't know if that is what you were going for. And these two on the right are just terrible. Are these for a book cover? Because I also don't know if a book cover should just be a portrait of the artist looking like he shot the bed. You know. But, you know, I could be wrong. Like, those might not be the mock-ups. Where are the mock-ups at, Alice? I thought that they would be there, but I guess they must be in my other office because I have 2 offices and a bedroom because I'm fucking loaded. That's right. Okay, the mock-up of the cover is literally him. Yep. Hate that.
These look really good.
Oh, sure, until Barry gets his hands on them. Which, by the way, will happen over my dead body. The last time was the last time. Oh, and speaking of Barry, he called. Alan! Alan, please check the fuse box.
I'm right here. I'm on it, honey.
Alright, yeah.
Please hurry.
She's afraid of the dark for people who have just joined.
Honey, it's a power outage. I've got the flashlight.
Okay.
So, before I was kind of being like, why is she bullying him into writing a new book and like putting a lot of pressure on him to write this new book? She like, this is like a 3 years ago flashback, but it's in the first episode. It's like they go to this cabin in this small town, and his agent Barry is calling him and is like, maybe this will get you inspired to write a new book. I don't know why Barry is like a bad David Lynch impression, but anyway. And then Alice, they arrive in the cabin and Alice is like, I got you a typewriter because maybe this will inspire you to write. And then he keeps being like, fuck you guys, I'm just here on a vacation, stop telling me to write a book.
You okay?
But now I feel that I have more contextual knowledge, which is that she works for him or for the publishing company, or somehow is also working on his books, which I think is contributing to the terrible vibes that their marriage is giving off. So we learned something new.
I'm sorry. It just really spooked me.
Don't worry. We'll just break out the candles.
I know it's stupid, but it's just... especially when I'm not prepared for it, you know? It gets to me.
I love you.
He does not
Tell me
listen to
about it
her.
later.
Okay.
She says something and he just says,
used to
I
have
love
these
you.
nightmares when I was a kid. The dark really spooked me too. When it got really bad, my mom gave me this old light switch. She called it the clicker.
The clicker, huh?
Yeah. If I ever got scared of the dark, I could just flip the switch and a magic light would scare the monsters away.
Oh, sure.
This is some romantic lighting and framing,
Here
but I'm
it
really
is.
not feeling it.
Alan.
Maybe it'll help you too.
Yeah, nice story, writer boy. You made that up right now, didn't you?
No. Seriously.
I love you, even if you are a liar. Thanks for this.
Did you know that he's a writer? Did you know that he's best-selling author Alan Wake? Okay, yeah. The exterior there is like, that's one of those super fucking pricey, like, Manhattan apartments is what that looks like. That's... wow.
How do you feel, Mr. Wake? Any nausea, disorientation, anything
Present
like that?
day in Bright Falls.
Mr. Wake, how are you feeling?
I'm okay. My head's fine. I had to lie about my headache and memory loss. He'd send me to a hospital for tests. I couldn't leave without Alice.
Very well. I don't think you have a concussion, but you've obviously been through quite a shock. You should take it easy for a couple of days.
Thanks.
I feel that they were so, like, not at all compelling about the relationship between Alice and Alan in the first episode, and then she goes missing, and you as the player are supposed to be, like, driven to want to find her, and now they're trying to, like, do some writing to build up some kind of feeling of romance or connection or love between the two of them, and it's still bad and not having any effect. So I'm still in the same place that I was emotionally.
Mr. Wake, we're done here. If the pain gets any worse or you experience any other symptoms, you should come see me. I'll let you get on with it then. Sara, Sheriff Breaker, is waiting for you. She's very good at her job. I'm sure she can locate your wife in no time.
Doc Nelson was the image of a small-town doctor. Sheriff Breaker had called him to the station to take a look at the cut in my head.
Okay. Well, I guess this is kind of like the, in a way, like the Doc Hayward of the game. So Doc Hayward is the doctor in Twin Peaks who's also...
I believe you'll find the sheriff in her office. Just go down the corridor.
Who is also Donna's father, and Donna is Laura's best friend slash is gay for Laura. Are you the guy that I met on the boat? Or do all old white guys just look the same to me?
Sarah's probably waiting for a chance to talk to you.
I think this might be a different old white guy.
I'm sorry you had to cut your morning fishing short for this, Doc.
Oh, she's a beauty, ain't she? Not the biggest I ever caught, if you can believe that coming from an old fisherman like me, but she's right up
Pretty
there.
big fish.
Now, she's a largemouth bass, which is what you're after if you prefer a lure. Now, if you want either trout or salmon, on the other hand, then it's fly fishing for you. You a fishing man, Mr. Wake? Oh, doesn't really matter, I suppose. But it can be very relaxing out there. You can't get me off the water this time of year. Closest thing to heaven.
Okay.
I'll take your word for it, Doc.
I'm not a fishing person myself, so not really invested. Okay, so I'm looking for the sheriff. We're in Twin Peaks, I mean Bright Falls Sheriff Station. Bright Falls is a small town with big secrets. Sara Breaker. Okay, well, I'm gonna try and look around first. There we go. Have you seen this man? Disappeared on the 20th of June 2007. Identifying features, knack for winning contests. Sorry, I was doing the American dates in my head. Missing Richard Borg, or however you say that, sorry, Bruce Dansky and Jacob Miller on a camping trip, overdue, haven't been in contact. If you've seen them or know their whereabouts, please call this number, thank you. Few missing peoples going on. Oh, there's a missing cat. I can't read the missing cat poster, which is sad. I hope they find the cat. But I feel like they've been...
Mr. Wake, the sheriff is waiting for you in her office down the corridor.
Thank you, I know.
That was Cynthia Weaver. I guess you can call her the town eccentric. She used to be the editor of the local newspaper, but she's focused on, other things these days.
She'd fit right in where I come from.
As you can see, she's a little obsessed with maintaining the light bulbs of the whole town, refuses to step on shadows, things like that. Back in her day, she wrote about all sorts of weird things in the paper. Bright Falls has a colorful history. Of course, what small town hasn't?
Okay. I feel like even her voice acting is trying to give Lucy from Twin Peaks. I'm not trying to like read too much into it, but I just feel like there are
wants to see you in her
a lot of
office,
ways
Mr.
in which this is very heavy-handedly being a Twin Peaks inspired game. Which, yeah, kind of in the same vein as Deadly Premonition, for anyone who's ever played Deadly Premonition, where some of the stuff you're like, really? You just copied this off of Twin Peaks.
Yeah, it's Mulligan here. I'm at Stutz's gas station with Thornton. There's no sign of him. Over.
Wait. Yeah, this is Thornton. Look, we've located the parade float. It's here. That's some good news, right? Stucky was supposed to be driving it at the rehearsals today. Over.
Oh, give me that. Mulligan here. Looks like someone really thrashed the garage. Over.
Okay, roger that, guys. Keep looking for Stucky. Jane's out.
Okay. So they're still looking for Carl Stucky. Manuscript page. What do we got?
Alice looked through the viewfinder, lining up the shot. Cauldron Lake was breathtaking. Something caught her eye. A figure standing in the shadows behind the cabin, like a thin woman in a black dress. She lowered the camera and looked again. No one there. Just a collection of bushes that looked vaguely human-shaped. She shook her head and laughed.
I guess it's like vaguely interesting that some of these manuscript pages are written from different characters' like perspectives, but it's gotta be a messy fucking manuscript if it keeps jumping that
Sheriff
much.
Breaker is waiting for you down the corridor
Yes,
in her office.
ma'am. I heard you the first several times. In playing a video game, I'm looking around before I follow the objective. Okay. Well, I do think that that's everything there is to see, so...
Come in, Mr. Wake. Your phone's on the desk. The battery was dead. It's charged now.
Have you started looking for my wife yet?
My men are already on it. Now, can you tell me what happened?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. We were arguing. I walked out of the cabin.
The cabin on Cauldron Lake?
How did you end up at Stucky's gas station?
I wanted to tell her what had happened last night, but I couldn't. She'd lock me up. Excuse me. I need to take this. Hello?
Alan, please help me.
Alice?
Stop talking to the law. You'll do exactly what I say if you ever want to see your wife.
Who is this?
Go to the back lot. There's a hole in the fence on the left. Look inside the junker. I left a little something there to convince you we're all on the same page here. After you ditch the cops, you're gonna meet me in Elderwood National Park. There's a spot called Lover's Peak. Midnight. Don't do nothing stupid, pal. We're watching you.
This is so fucking goofy. Okay.
Mr. Wake, can I help you with anything?
I need to get some air. The sheriff said I could go out back.
Of course, Mr. Wake. You can get there through the cell corridor. Just don't mind Walter in there. He's one of our regulars.
Mister! Hey, can you turn the lights on? The deputies, they don't understand. Thank you, man, thank you. Hey, you're all right. You're a good guy. Don't let anybody tell you different. You know, I shouldn't even be in here. The cops, they got it all wrong. See? Sure, I beat him up, but I wasn't drunk. I mean, I wasn't drunk at the time. I only got drunk afterward. Okay, listen. You gotta listen carefully now. Here's the kicker. That wasn't Danny. No, sir. It only looked like him. You wanna know who it really was? I'll tell you who it really was. It was a goddamn space alien! I know it sounds like something thing a drunk would say, but believe me, I wasn't drunk then.
Okay, sir.
In spite of its human mask, to describe the dark presence as intelligent would have implied human qualities on something decidedly inhuman.
Okay.
Nonetheless, it found the one spot in the diner that was dark enough. Some light spilled into the corridor, ravaging it. But it took the pain. Horrible as it was, the writer would soon fix that. He would be coming to the one place where it still had power. The early morning light hurt my eyes and made my head ache. The man on the phone had said, go through the fence on the left.
Go through the fence on the left? Okay, but I see some coffee, so I'm gonna grab some coffee first. I don't know how much that'll help with your headache, but...
Well, folks, it's been another long night, and it's about time for me to sign off for a while. God knows I need my beauty sleep. Just one more item before I go. It's been a busy night for the sheriff's department. We've had a few broken windows, even a report of shots fired on Main Street. Deputies Mulligan and Thornton had to deal with two intoxicated young men who were celebrating the completion of their Deer Fest float. Now, folks, we get this every year. I know it's exciting, the big day's almost here, but let's save it for leave the gun.
Right, okay, so small town folks getting excited about a local holiday and getting drunk and shooting stuff is the gist of that, sounds like.
The caller had told me to find a hole in the fence behind the police station. There was something for me in an abandoned car.
Wow, that's pretty intense, Alan. I'm sure you could have just moved that out of the way, but fine. Oh, let's read the manuscript page.
The kidnapper fired his gun one last time, and the shadow vanished into the darkness it had come from. See? Nothing to it, Wake. The thought of Alice in his hands was revolting. We stood on the wooden platform of Lover's Peak, the waterfall on the mountain behind us, the lights of the radio mast blinking red in the heights above. I fought with the urge to take a swing, force myself to speak. Let's cut the act now.
Where's my
Where's
wife?
my wife?
Wow, men really be writing.
Alice's
Female
driver's
characters.
license had been placed on the front seat. The caller meant business.
Okay, it's on that side.
Barry?
Ow! Ow! Thank God! Where the hell have you been? I've been trying to reach you for a week, you and Alice. I've been worried sick. I flew out yesterday. I'm here in Bright Falls.
Barry,
jeez.
listen to me. I'm at the sheriff's station. Come and get me. I can't talk now.
Ow! What the hell is going on?
I had to get the sheriff to let me go. I needed to get to Elderwood National Park to meet Alice's kidnappers.
Things are moving quite fast, and I feel that... So, I guess I've kind of been saying this already, but, like, again, if I'm gonna put this next to another Twin Peaks inspired game, Life is Strange, one that I really like and I think is really good and really compelling, and, you know, there's the big similarities here in terms of, like, the opening thing with the dream and the lighthouse and all of that. But there's so much... I guess that, like, Life is Strange does such a good job of giving you, like, time and space to explore your environments and, like, interact with the characters and get to know the characters, which really adds, like, a lot of depth, and makes the mystery a lot more compelling. And I feel that things are happening too fast here, and I'm not really getting a sense of Bright Falls as a place or any of the characters that live here, and instead it's kind of like, again, it's kind of like lazily relying on certain, like, character tropes but missing the point of what actually makes them work in Twin Peaks, like in terms of the strangeness of those characters. And instead it's like, oh, this guy's the town eccentric and blah blah blah, but it's just, yeah, just these are just my thoughts as I'm going along about, like, reflecting on why it's not quite working for me as well as it could, but yeah.
From nothingness, the way a sculptor carves a statue from a block of granite, it If I stop, the world I'm making dies. Darkness will reclaim it. It's a long, hard journey into the dark. Alice's life is at stake, but I can't think about that, or I'll lose it. The dread lingers at the edge of perception. I'll push on. Anything is possible here. I'll write the story. I'll save her.
I guess I'm like sort of on paper compelled by like this stuff about like actively writing the story and then being in the story, and then it's like kind of trying to do this meta narrative thing, but it's just not doing it very well so far. Hi Rabbit Chick Chick. I'm curious why you chose this game for Game Assist. Good question. This has been on my list for a while. Anyway, just as like a game that I wanted to play, and I thought it might be a fun streaming game. And I didn't really know tons about it other than I'd seen maybe the first 20-30 minutes of gameplay, so I knew it was like about this writer and his creations come back to life and start haunting him or trying to kill him. And I guess I was quite interested by that and the potential of that. And it had the vibe of being inspired by Twin Peaks, and having a couple of similar elements to Life is Strange. So all of that stuff was like part of why I was interested in this game. And since then, Alan Wake 2 has come out, and a lot of people have said that that's really amazing. But one of the things that kind of pushed this to the top of my list is that David Lynch recently passed. This is somewhat of a Twin Peaks inspired game, and a couple of us at Game Assist have an idea that we're wanting to kind of like explore and maybe write about, maybe make a video about, that is looking at Lynch's influence on games, which people have discussed before. But what I'm particularly compelled by is what we do at Game Assist, which is the political dimension of that conversation, which is a lot to do with how there are certain limitations to Lynch's work and to stuff like Twin Peaks that we could critique politically. For example, like the propaganda in Twin Peaks, in a lot of his work, you know, it's very white and it's very kind of focused on like white Americana, and there's a lot to be said for kind of like the racial politics of his work. But one of the things that I personally really like about his work, or certain parts of it, are the way that kind of gender politics and like patriarchal violence are explored in a lot of that work. And I think that I'm interested in playing more games that are inspired by Twin Peaks or other of Lynch's work, because that's like a question that I have for for some of these games, is like, okay, you know, on the surface you're like inspired by David Lynch and this idea of like of mystery and the unknown and the surreal and you know, the violence that kind of lurks within us and within the world, as well as kind of like the beauty. And those are, a lot of the time, I think when people talk about those themes, it's in a very depoliticized way, but those are like deeply political themes to me. Like violence is such a political theme, and particularly like the themes of gendered violence in a lot of that work. So I'm pretty curious about playing more of these games, and I guess like asking those kind of questions without like giving away where we're going to be going with that too much. But even just from the first part of this game, I think that a lot of that character work and stuff in general is quite flat, but I think you could already see how the way that Alice is presented in this game is like super flattening and very much playing into tropes about women in games where you're like, the woman is barely characterized, and then it's like, well, we've given you like 1 or 2 scenes with her and all you need to know is that she's this man's wife, and now we assume that you're going to be invested in like going and looking for her, but she's like characterized in this very like flat misogynistic way. So there's a lot going on there that I think could make this potentially interesting for us and talk about as we go on. Hello and welcome, Gazebo Kids. Alan Wake, more like Alan Woke. Well, it's funny you say that because Alan is definitely not woke. He's definitely not woke. Don't apologize for your antics ever. There's always space for your antics here. It's also like weirdly relevant to what I was talking about.
They are not accountable for their actions, of course. I can assure you that my staff has been reprimanded.
Tor and Odin never caused any trouble to anyone when they were still living at their farm.
Indeed. All we can do is to slow down the progress of their dementia.
What?
Are you feeling any better, Mr. Wake?
I'd like to leave. Am I free to go?
Well, we still need to talk about...
Am I under arrest?
No, of course not. But I need to know where you'll be staying so I can
God,
get
only
in
a
touch
white
with
man
you.
can talk to the police like this and get away with it.
The Majestic is known for its roaches. The cabins at Elderwood are pretty nice, though.
That sounds perfect.
I'm Dr. Emil Hartman. I'd like to invite you to stay at Cauldron Lake Lodge.
Did you talk to my wife?
I had the pleasure of discussing your situation with her on several occasions.
Did you set something up with her?
I invited her here. My clinic is a place where...
Wow, okay. This fucking guy. So that's the doctor,
Nobody
right?
move. Get your
From the
hands
book?
off of my client.
Who are you?
I'm Barry Wheeler, his
Right,
agent.
then there's his
If
agent.
you have business with Mr. Wake, you talk to me. You yokels won't know what hit you once I sick my lawyers on your asses.
No harm done, Sarah. I'm all right. I don't want to press charges. Mr. Wake, my offer still
And obviously we've
stands.
got some classic like classism against
Get me
people
outta
who live
here.
in like the small town America.
What the hell was that about, Al? We don't need a replay of that thing with the paparazzi. I thought they were gonna lock you up.
Wow, okay. Yeah, no problem, Robert Chick Chick. Thank you for
to-
for asking. Appreciate the question. And I totally agree. Again, we're only in episode 2. We'll see where it goes, but so far not promising. I agree that it does feel like the kind of creators or writers or whomever of Alan Wake connected with Lynch in a superficial way, like in a surface level way. And kind of missed a lot of the point of what like really connects emotionally and kind of like artistically about Lynch. Totally agree. Alan Wake got the game director presenting at E3 Fit. He does, and that's how you know he's a loser. Sorry. Not sorry though. I mean, you guys really need to think about dressing differently and also not being white men who look exactly the same. I don't know how much you can do about that, but you know, have you ever considered being girls and also dressing better? You know what I mean?
Talk to someone. I told Barry everything. He thought I was certifiable, but when he heard about the manuscript, I had him. The fact that I'd written something, even if I couldn't remember it, was enough for him. He smelled money. And he believed that Alice had been kidnapped. Anything beyond that was another story. I had a midnight appointment with the kidnapper in a place called Lover's Peak, somewhere in Elderwood National Park. The plan was to rent a cabin.
I don't like it, Al. I don't like any of it. It's not good. In fact, it's the absolute opposite of
Thank
good.
you for that, Barry. What's the opposite of good again?
Barry, you found him.
Hi, Rose.
Oh, wow. I was just thinking about you, too.
Great.
I was just bringing Rusty some coffee. He's on the balcony, looking after Max. Poor thing. I really need to go. Great to see you again, Mr. Wake. Later!
Okay, don't look at her like that, you fucking creep.
Who's Max?
So that's the woman that he wrote that one really misogynistic
What an
page about as well in his manuscript. I think Remedy, which is the studio behind this game, their Lynch influences have been a lot better interpreted in Control and in Alan Wake 2. They've come a long way and done their own thing more now. That's definitely what I've heard. I only learned very recently that Control is by the same developers as Alan Wake, and that apparently Alan Wake and Control are set in the same universe, which is really interesting. I have Control. I've never finished Control, and I would really love to, but from what I did play of Control, I really loved it, and I can definitely see knowing now that Remedy are like influenced by Lynch, I can definitely see those kind of influences there. Super excited to play Alan Wake, and after playing this game, which I feel mostly I am playing so that I have some kind of like background and, you know, the knowledge to kind of really get into some of this stuff, and also to play the games that are, you know, more loved and more considered to be like interesting games in general, but also interpretations of like Lynch inspired work. I'm definitely gonna be playing those after I play this. I've been told that if you play Alan Wake and then Control and then Alan Wake 2, that's a good order to play them in. So if anyone has any thoughts or opinions, spoiler free, about that, then let me know, and I can follow up Alan Wake with Control or with Alan Wake 2, which are two games I'm very excited to play. I will confess that I will probably need to have a walkthrough open for Control, because I'm just really bad at puzzle games, and I also get really stressed out about playing puzzle games on stream. So yeah, definitely think that's the best order. I always think release order is the way to go. Okay, thank you, Gazebo Kids. Appreciate that.
Jeez, Mr. Takes a Swing at Everybody. This is not her fault. She's a very nice girl and, more importantly, a fan. She even has a fan site dedicated to you. And she was very helpful when I was looking for you. Seriously, Al, what you were saying in the car? Just listen to yourself. What, you shot a guy and his body just disappeared? When was the last time you slept? What, are you high? Have you been drinking?
No! Look, Barry, I'm missing a week. And someone's got Alice.
Do you
and everything's
understand
just...
what it sounds like when you say stuff like that? Don't get me wrong, it's a good story, could be a bestseller. But when you start confusing fiction with reality, you're buying yourself a ticket to the funny farm.
Wait here.
The funny farm, okay. People always got some kind of quirky fucking way to say psychiatric hospital, because you just hate mentally distressed people. Control also borrows more from X-Files and SCP stuff. That's interesting. I can definitely see that. I've never actually watched X-Files myself, so I gotta be doing that at some point. I do have that song by Old Gods of Asgard on my workout playlist. The one that's like, take control. Because it's a fucking banger. So I do be pumping weights to that shit. The skeleton of a Colombian mammoth. This specimen, estimated to be 14,000 years old, was recovered from the La Brea tar pits in 1981. It was donated to the Elderwood National Park in 1998, when the Colombian mammoth became Washington's state fossil. Named Bucktooth Charlie, it has since become the park's official mascot. Okay. Cougar. And then there's a quote here. Majestic creatures, if you've ever spotted a cougar in the woods, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. For such a big cat, they move like they're made of air. Like physics don't even matter to them, just amazing to watch. I don't recommend that people get too close though, and make sure you stay aware of your surroundings when you're hiking or camping. Cougars will see you long before you see them. Park Ranger Rusty. Yeah. Anyway, isn't it crazy how dreams are a thing? What's a dream and what's reality? This is me making fun of how heavy-handed the game is being with that, by the way.
Easy there, boy. I'm almost done.
Okay, I think that's Rusty.
Hey, Rusty,
Aww.
right? You rent cabins.
Is the dog okay?
Oh, Mr. Wake, I'd shake your hand, but mine are kind of full here. Actually, I'm sorry about this. Would you mind grabbing the registration form from the desk? It's just across from Bucktooth Charlie.
Oh, look at this
Okay,
poor doggy.
sure.
Oh.
What happened? Crazy poachers. Max here got his foot caught in a trap. They're illegal to use here. Hell, you're not supposed to hunt within the park at all. But that doesn't stop some lowlifes. Hell, at least Max is gonna be okay. He got lucky.
Oh, poor Max.
Max is still groggy from the shot I gave him, and I'd rather not leave him alone just yet. The form's on the desk across from the mammoth skeleton.
He's being like, can you hurry the fuck up?
Seriously, Al, you can't just go and meet a kidnapper. Those situations always end up in disaster.
Okay, thanks for that, Barry. That's real insightful. Okay, stealing people's coffee again.
She's my wife, and it's my call. Can we talk about this later?
She's my wife.
This whole thing... Listen, you hit your head. I mean, geez, Al, come on. You gotta understand how crazy all this sounds. If you're trying to pull a joke on me, freak me out, it's working. Ha ha, let's have a laugh on Barry. Well, you had me going there real funny, Al. You can quit it now.
Okay. Alright, Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, maybe there's something to be said for Kingdom Hearts having a Lynchian vibe, but I don't know about that one.
I think this is the form you wanted.
And here are the keys. Okay, you're all set, Mr. Wake. Glad to have you staying here.
Thanks. Can you tell me how to get to Lover's Peak?
Oh, sure. It's at the end of the nature trail. Just follow the paths, you'll get to it eventually. It's an easy walk. Nice spot, too.
Okay. I'd love to go on another hike in this beautiful town.
Look, Al, you're asking me to believe that you shot a dude who went poof into thin air.
Oh my god. Can you get over it, Barry? Can you just be open to the infinite possibility of the universe and things beyond your understanding? Grow up! I think these games merit some attention for their commercial, political, and cultural impact. They affect my life but do not enrich it, similar to games like COD, Black Ops, or Heavy Rain. I feel pretty strongly that this was made for an audience that I'm not part of. That's fair enough, Rabbit Chick Chick. I mean, I am hesitant to pass a lot of judgment until I see or play more of the more recent titles, but certainly Alan Wake is a very particular kind of game fitting into very particular like tropes and norms of the games industry. But yeah, if there's one thing about me, it's like I like playing games or watching movies or whatever that I think I will like, but I also like gaining cultural knowledge and doing research in order to be able to understand things more. So sometimes I will just, even if I don't like the thing, I will do it because I don't know whether that's a good trait or a bad trait, but you know, it is what it is. But yes, I think my interest in kind of the political analysis of this game is a project that we're working on that will kind of look at a political analysis of the influence of David Lynch in games. Which, you know, it should also be said that that like Lynchian surrealism is like a very specific kind of thing, and there's a lot of surrealist art and a lot of like surrealism in games, and that's not necessarily like the same as being David Lynch inspired, because as much as I love David Lynch, I think that some people could do with knowing that like he is not the only person who's ever made surrealist art, and that other like surrealist art also like deserves our attention. But I think one of the like craziest, I'm not going to get too deep into this, but one of the like craziest things in my opinion is like the way that people use the word Lynchian in different ways that I often disagree with. But that's a conversation for another time.
That's just crazy talk, Al. Al? We should go to the sheriff or call the FBI.
Damn it, Barry, they'll kill her! This is not a goddamn debate, Barry. I'm going to Lover's Peak. He said to come alone.
Okay then. I understand. You're my best friend, and I'm worried that you're not
You're
right
his
in the
best
head.
friend? So
Tell me what to do
you've
to
got
help,
a really
and I'll
bad
do it.
relationship with your best
stay
friend
here,
and your
and
wife.
if I'm not back by morning,
This is
call
not...
the cavalry.
This is not... Just for the record, in case anyone was wondering, this is not the kind of relationship you want to have with your best friend or your wife. This is some bad... These are some bad, dysfunctional, and not very promising relationships. Just in case anyone was wondering.
Careful with the natives, Al. These
The
locals are
natives.
dangerous.
Can you
Everybody
not
hates a
say
tourist,
that?
or it'll be deliverance all over again.
Can you not say natives unless you mean
Bless you.
like indigenous people,
Oh,
please?
this place is trying to kill me. I'll bet there's mold in here, spores, poison ivy.
Shut up.
God knows what. This is so not worth a 50.
This is interesting because he's also doing something which some characters do in Twin Peaks and in other parts of David Lynch's work, which is a lot to unpack, of being a particular kind of prejudice against like small town rural communities, and this prejudice is fundamentally classism. Fundamentally that's what it is. Like, oh, these like backwards like yokels or whatever, like these sort of tropes are fundamentally classist, which is why on stream sometimes I've cautioned folks that I don't agree with people uncritically using language like rednecks and stuff like that, because like I think it's, you know, that's you're using that as like potentially derogatory language for like someone that you think is like a bigot or something like that, but actually those words carry a lot of heft and they're very like classist in nature, so I would caution against using them, or at least like caution to think a lot more critically about like where those words come from and what they mean and how they're used and whether you really want to be using them in the way that you are.
Commission.
Sorry, catching up with chat. Lynchian is so often just thing is weirder than I'm used to, which is not the case. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It really is a case of like David Lynch is a surrealist artist that for some reason has somewhat broken into the mainstream. So, for example, I think that like being into certain things, like for example Lost Highway which is, you know, one of Lynch's films from 1997, or maybe his short films, or which is like a bit more obscure and cult, but like I don't think that people can reasonably say that they're into like cult art because they're into like Twin Peaks, which is like one of the most famous and successful television shows of all time, you know, and is a lot more accessible than a lot of his other work, and is a lot more commercially viable than a lot of his other work. And in comparison to like some other surrealist filmmakers, there's something about him which is like commercially viable, or at least some of his work was, because he kind of rose to fame for some of that more commercially viable stuff, and then he kind of like fell from grace in the eyes of Hollywood because of you know, kind of going back to his roots and doing his own thing in that way. And so it really does become a case of like people just not being used to stuff that's that surreal or that avant-garde or that strange, and being like, oh, this is so weird, and then Lynchian becomes like a stand-in for like weird or strange or uncanny, and it's like, well, no, I'm sorry you guys, but there's a lot weirder stuff out there, like for better or worse, and we need to stop seeing David Lynch as some kind of like, and again, huge fan of David Lynch. I do love his work, and I think there's something special to it, but you know, we have to kind of like stop engaging with artists in this way. And I often find that using an artist's name to describe, like, to come up with a word that describes like certain works is not often like a very useful or interesting way of engaging with art. I mean, I might like flippantly use Lynchian once or twice every now and again, but it's not like a word that I love, because a lot of the time I don't agree with how people are using it, or with even using it at all. A lot of the time people use it when what they really mean is like surreal or, you know, uncanny or dreamlike or something, and it's like, well, that's not necessarily Lynchian. It's so funny because people might not recognize how like Tim and Eric, a sketch comedy duo, are massively inspired by Lynch in their comedy work, and you can feel it, but nobody would describe it as Lynchian, even though it is. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can see that. I would not describe this game as Lynchian, for example. You can see the influences which again feel quite surface level, of David Lynch on this game, but I don't think that by any stretch of the imagination this game is Lynchian, in my opinion. Head for Lover's Peak.
Lock the door when I leave.
Okay.
Yep, you go ahead and do what you have to do. I'll be fine. Alone, but fine. In a cabin straight from a horror movie.
Yeah, and it's like, it's Twin Peaks inspired more than Lynch inspired, and even then it's like, it's not really giving Twin Peaks, like, you know, the spirit of this game is not giving that, you know? Except, again, as I think Rabbit Chick Chick said before, in a very superficial way.
Every step of the way, Al. Locking the door now.
Okay, so how do I head to Lover's Peak? Oh, a manuscript page.
Barry had never gotten along with Alice, but he knew Alan loved her with an almost frightening intensity. And now something had happened to Alice. And here was Al armed with a gun and saying things people got put in padded cells for. It was as if his friend had experienced a massive psychotic episode and was now totally disconnected from reality. It scared the shit out of Barry.
Okay, well, I could have done without Barry's narrative perspective on the situation, because that added nothing to my life.
I knew I should have gone to the cops. This wasn't the smartest thing I'd ever done, but I was still angry with Barry for trying to talk me out of it. These people had called me right in the sheriff's station. The cops wouldn't scare them, and they had Alice.
It's, yeah, okay, we've got very, like, man is searching for his wife. That, again, that wife was, like, barely characterized at all, except in, like, the most flat way. Got a light switch in here? There we go.
Welcome back to the show, folks. As promised, our very own Dr. Nelson has just parked his rear end in the studio. Doc, what's your Deerfest plan like?
That was a
My
shadow,
plan?
I think.
You make it sound a lot more organized than I ever seem to manage.
Oh,
No
What are they
plan.
laughing? Like,
Really,
that
just
wasn't funny.
taking the atmosphere. I'm getting a little too rickety to do much more than that, you know.
Oh, tell me about it. No sack race for us older gentlemen.
Okay, I can't. Like, I'm not even interested enough in the radio stuff to listen to the whole thing, because it's not. Like, again, a lot of the time in games I'm like, oh, you know, I'm gonna explore the things and listen to the radio things and video and blah blah blah, and it's just, but I'm not compelled. I'm simply not compelled. Okay, now this is the way I came. Sorry. I was heading down, not up. I have not played Silent Hill. That is also on my list. I think I'm saving Silent Hill 2 Remastered, which I purchased recently, or remake? I don't know whether it's a remaster or remake, to also play on stream at some point. But doesn't Silent Hill 2 also have something about, like, a man searching for his wife? That's all I really know about it, and I'd like to, you know, be surprised and know as little about it as possible when I go into it. But it's like a guy called James, right? And he's, like, searching for his wife. That's all I know. In this, like, foggy, creepy town and blah blah blah. That's another game that a lot of people describe as Lynchian, but I can make no comment because I still haven't played it yet.
The air in the visitor center was heavy with an awful smell, as if some rotten drowned thing had crawled up from its grave. Rusty kept coughing blood. My eyes were drawn to the twisted shape of his broken leg. The attack had been vicious. Max whined in his cage. Rusty's eyes were wild with fear and terror. He gasped. Mr. Wake, it happened just the way it was on that page.
Yes, man searching for wife, and we may have the feeling that the wife is better off without him. So it goes. So it goes. That's... There's something to be said about that, but again, I think there's something to come back to in the project that we're working on. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Fia, assuming that that's you on the gazebo kids account.
The vision left me weak. This was no head injury.
Damn. Rusty, hang on! I'm coming!
Please, help me!
What am I being nudged about? Oh, just about, like, you know, the idea of, like, the men are looking for their wife, but then we find out that the wife is potentially, or we have the feeling that the wife is potentially better off without them. In terms of, like, that in dialogue with, like, David Lynch's work. And it's an interesting thing that that's a common element between this and Silent Hill, if that's the case as well.
The ranger's office was locked. I'd need a key to get in.
And it's interesting. So the whole thing with, like, oh, like, he's got a head injury, and everyone's like, oh, like, you know, are you having some kind of crazy visions and blah blah blah. And that's like a bit of a trope in a lot of things, but it's something that makes me think about Lost Highway quite a bit. Which, yeah, again, I don't want to give away too much about that movie for people who haven't seen it, but there's definitely something to do with, like, horrible men having a headache and then having some crazy shit happen to them, and also maybe their wives are better off without them.
Hey, please help me.
Wow. Wow, things went to shit pretty fast in here.
Oh, hell.
Enjoy your dinner.
The way it was on that page.
Let us... What are you eating for dinner?
True. It knew. So dark. It'll come back for me. You must... The lights. In the office. I have the key.
Okay, Rusty. Hang on. I'll be right back. Whatever did this couldn't be far. Rusty had found a page from the manuscript. It would help me understand what had happened.
Okay. Did I get that manuscript page, or...?
Shh. Good boy.
Yeah, I do feel that in terms of the page... Oh, poor Max. Oh, he's in a fucking box. Poor Max. What was I gonna say? Yeah, in terms of the pacing, I think that that's a big problem here, for sure. It's definitely all happening too fast.
The only way to make sure that Rusty was safe was to get the power running and the lights back on.
Okay. There's always fucking some generator-related puzzle in general in games, but in this one, this has got to be like the millionth time that it's been like, you gotta get the lights back on. Because the light keeps the darkness away. Wake up, Alan. Walk into the light. Follow the light. Wow. This is so much coffee. I don't really have a sense of how time is passing, so maybe it's a reasonable amount of coffee, but I just keep feeling like he's finding and stealing coffee. Oh, there we go. There's a manuscript page.
The visitor center was sturdy, but the impact turned the front of the building into splinters. Rusty was thrown across the lobby like a rag doll and hit the far wall hard. It didn't hurt until he tried to move and saw his leg bend the wrong way, felt the broken ribs stabbing him on the inside. Rusty howled in pain and fear, suddenly afraid to die alone.
It's rough, buddy. gotta wonder how someone gets a name like Rusty.
At the last instant, I changed direction and threw myself down. The axe splintered the trunk of a tree. I stumbled into the pool of bright light. My lungs burned. I was too exhausted to move. I tensed as I waited for the killing blow, but it never came. I raised my head. Nothing moved in the darkness beyond. For the moment, bathed in the cold light, I was safe.
Right. Alan is a successful novelist who speaks in expository inner monologue. Yes, he sure is. And this is the thing. They'll give white men money and an award for anything. He's such a bad writer. Both of his books and of his own story that he's metatextually inside. Dun dun dun!
I was too late. Someone had destroyed the circuit breaker.
Wow.
There
With
was
an
no way
axe?
to get the lights back on.
Can you believe that? Poor Rusty.
Rusty!
The ground was covered with oily patches that looked like liquid darkness.
Well, you're not wrong about that, sir. They just keep saying things that are true. Oh my god. You're getting through these batteries like it's business, Alan. It just seems wasteful, you know. It just seems a bit wasteful. There's gotta be a better solution. Rusty?
Something had torn a mammoth-sized hole in the wall.
Please don't feed the
Something had torn a mammoth-sized hole. Could it be a mammoth?
Fishing is for those visitors who purchase a park fishing license.
Yeah, thank you for letting me know. I wasn't planning on fishing anytime soon, but I do really appreciate the
Rusty?
the
Rusty,
notice.
no! Never!
Two bears and wolves.
Rusty, hey buddy, do you want to tell me more about those fishing licenses? Hey, Rusty, buddy. No, that's so true. People be abandoning their pets, Rusty. Rusty! There you are, man. No, it's people treat their pets like shit these days, Rusty. You're right. You're so right. Welcome back, Faye. Oh. God, this is a shit fucking flashlight. Like, how are you getting these buttons so fast? What the hell is going on? It's a good question. I'm trying to figure out how I explain to you what's going on. But I'm not totally sure myself. I feel like I'm just kind of going along with it at this point. Well, we're still searching for Alan's wife. That's the main thing. I'm going to Lover's Peak.
What the hell was that? I saw from the window. I saw something.
Forget about it, Barry. It's just me going crazy.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. You're not crazy. I wish you were crazy.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez, Alan.
Ow, be careful.
Stay in the cabin. Don't open the door for anyone. I mean it.
Oh, there's Lover's Peak. Manuscript page. Here we go.
In that last instant of consciousness, Rusty thought about Rose. He was older than she was. Rose was barely out of her teens, but she made him feel young.
Ew.
And forget what a train wreck his long-dead marriage had been. He still wore the ring. He'd been waiting for her to tell him to take it off. Now she never would.
What the fuck, Rusty? I didn't know he was having like some kind of creepy affair with a teenage girl. Slightly less empathetic now. Yikes indeed. Well, on that wonderful note, let's go to Lover's Peak, I guess. I have this feeling that something really heavy-handed is going to go down in relation to lovers at Lover's Peak. I have this feeling. For your safety, stay on designated hiking trail. Why, thank you. I shall be doing that. At least for the time being.
Lover's Peak was at the far end of the nature trail.
Do not feed wildlife. But what if they're hungry? Hey guys. Oh shit. It's a little bit rude now. Give me a second to get my shit together, you know what I mean? Someone's fucking attacking me from behind. How do I heal in this game? Uncertain. I don't feel that was ever explained to me. Anyway, okay. Is there... No? Okay. Onward to Lover's Peak. Damn, they have these signs every couple of seconds. Were people getting like really lost on their way to Lover's Peak? Okay, Slay, we got the shotgun back. I was wondering what happened to my shotgun, you know. Okay. Creepy music. The great old one, felled by lightning. That's the first time I've died. I think I have been perhaps working inefficiently. Okay, yeah. Okay, it took me a little while to figure out that that was what was happening. Which is like, you gotta shine the light on them for a bit and then, when it gets to the right point, that's when you shoot them. Okay, that's making this go a lot smoother for me. looks like I'm out of batteries, which is not good. Hopefully there's somebody here. Manuscript page.
I turned the corner, afraid of what the flashlight's beam might reveal. Suddenly, a roughly painted symbol of a torch glowed in the light. Behind it, hidden by a rock, sat a battered metal trunk. It was here for a reason. Packed with supplies, batteries, flares, ammo. Things you need to make it through the darkness of the night. Something left behind by someone who knew what I knew, and more.
Right, yeah, I forgot God is like on our side or something. Which, again, really, God? You're on Alan Wake's side? Bear alert. God, if Alan Wake ends up fighting a bear, I'll lose my mind. Oh, okay, there's quite a few of you. It's not looking good for me. Shit. Well, a flare gun would have been nice, but we're not. We don't have one right now, so that's shit. Shit. Run, Alan, run! Shit. I'm really, all I have is revolver ammo right now, and it would be really nice to have a flare gun, so I'm wondering if I missed something where I could get a flare gun, but no. Can't see it anywhere, so I might just have to work with what I got. It's funny how many of these enemies are literally just like workers. Like, why are you so afraid of working class people? If you're overwhelmed by enemies, try to run into the light. Maybe I will do that, because things are not looking good for me right now. And it might be a better idea for me to run. Fuck, just fucking run. Just run, Alan. Okay, yeah. That's what I'm doing. No. Ugh. Okay, well, I'll try and do a better job of just running into the light this time. Can't just run, so I guess I have to kill them a little bit and run. Yeah, no, there really is something to be said though for these guys are just like woodworkers mirrors and shit. Okay, made it. Nice. Here we go. Made it to Lover's Peak. Just about. There's a manuscript page.
Agent Nightingale didn't want to be
No.
in Bright Falls. These little communities revolted him, and he didn't like the trees or the coffee. He now knew that impossible horrors lurked behind the storefronts and smiles. He desperately wanted to turn the car around and just drive until he passed out or ran out of road and booze. But he had a job to do. He had a rider to catch, at any cost.
Agent Nightingale. Okay, so we have presumably an FBI agent, so this is presumably a reference to Special Agent Dale Cooper, which is one of the main characters in Twin Peaks, but he is giving completely the opposite vibe of Dale Cooper, who very famously loves the trees and the coffee in Twin Peaks. Instead, Agent Nightingale hates them and hates the town because he knows that impossible horrors lurk behind the surface. Again, this is such a fundamental misappropriation of Lynch and that character to me that's so crazy. And it's directly, like, referencing Cooper's love of coffee and trees, like this very specifically. Misreading Cooper as naive, yeah, absolutely. That character is anything but naive. He just like has a genuine love for like the beauty of the world. And the thing is that, like, I was saying this earlier, but like the thing about Cooper is that he both takes genuine joy in like the beauty of the simple things in life, like grand, majestic Douglas firs and like a damn good cup of coffee, and also is very aware of like the evil in the world. Like he's literally there to, you know, investigate the murder of Laura Palmer and to connect it to the murder of Teresa Banks. And again, you know, the propaganda and stuff is definitely worth critiquing and engaging with in that way, but if I feel that what Cooper is meant to represent in a lot of ways is both like understanding and seeing the evil in the world, but still being able to see that a place like Twin Peaks is both full of terrible evil and genuine beauty, and there's both. It's both. That's it. Instead, this interpretation is very much being like, oh, like the beauty is just a facade, the beauty isn't real. And that's so anti... yeah. Just... to me, very anti... what do I know? These villains are kind of similar vibes to the enemies in, sorry, I should say enemies because they're more like, you know, video game enemies than like villains necessarily. But they have the similar vibe to the enemies in Deadly Premonition, which I think is really funny.
Come on, we gotta get moving. More of them coming. That flashlight's kid stuff.
Wow.
The flares won't keep the bastards away.
Who the fuck are you? God, what's going on with that guy?
You can see them too? Hell, of course I see them. Come on, we gotta move.
Why?
Because that's the way the story goes.
Yeah, but...
Let's move!
I lost my gun back there.
Oh, I've got a gun. Just keep that light steady on him.
It took a moment, but then I recognized him. He'd been on the ferry when I first arrived
Oh,
here in
right,
Alice.
yeah.
He knew my name. We were headed in the direction of Lover's Peak. There was no way this was a coincidence. He was the kidnapper.
Come on, Wake. You better keep up.
He was. I think you're wrong about that, Alan.
Stairs, Wake. Use the flares from the emergency box to hold them off while I get these boards off.
Give me the gun.
Yeah, no can do, Wake.
Are you kidding? Give me the gun!
No time for back.
Okay.
Just a little longer. Scare them off. Get some light on those bastards. That'll keep them off us.
Yes, I agree, and that note read like Nightingale was too smart to be charmed by the small town. Yeah, absolutely. Like, being cynical makes you better than other people. Because, like, you see the truth. But, like, that's just, like, Agent Cooper is not a cynical character. And, I also don't think that David Lynch is very cynical. I think there's a lot of darkness and a lot of evil in his work, but I think that in a lot of ways he's very optimistic about, like, in terms of his outlook on his artistic outlook. In a lot of ways he's very optimistic, and I think that Dale Cooper being this kind of, like, character who sees that the beauty is real and the evil is real. I think this is, like, the best way I can put it, really, is that cynicism about this, which is being embodied through characters like Nightingale and Alan, is like, the goodness isn't real. What's real is the evil, and I see the truth because I'm better than other people and smarter than other people, and I can see beneath the veneer, beneath the surface, to the truth. But in fact, I think that in, you know, something like Twin Peaks and in a lot of other Lynch's other work, the good is real and the evil is real. And the question is always, like, I guess people are often like, the question is, like, what's a dream and what's reality? But it's like, everything is real and everything is a dream? I don't know if that makes any sense, but the question is not what is the dream and what is reality. The question, the synthesis of it for me really is that it is all real and it is all also a dream. And good is real and evil is also real. And there is no, like, you know, singular truth that you can access and say that you're better than everyone because you have access to that singular truth. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's definitely my reading on a lot of that, a lot of Lynch's work. And I think you're absolutely right, Rabbit Chick, about, like, this game's perspective and how that's very, like, not that.
Oh, you feeling better now, Wake? All cozy and safe. Better get ready. They'll be on us soon. This is it, Wake. The last stand. There's more flares here. Get ready. We fight them as long as they keep coming.
Give me the goddamn gun! They're coming!
Let's That's not how this goes.
I was trying to use the flare and it wasn't working. Oh shit. Sorry, I'll catch up with chat in a second.
That's right. Piece of cake, Wake. Already died. Moving.
You are terrible at this.
Monster!
Nice, okay. Is that the last of them? Because I think I'm out of flares.
Let's cut the act now. Where's my wife?
I knew you were gonna say that. I read it all before. You're a hell of a writer. Congratulations. You're gonna bring about something glorious and terrible once we get you some proper editorial control.
What the hell are you talking about? Where's Alice?
I want the entire manuscript, or she's gonna suffer bad.
You touch her mouth.
Men. Sorry, just going back in chat a sec. The line, he knew it was a facade that concealed horrors, is where I'm getting that. Yeah, for sure. Like, he knew it was a facade. Blah, blah, blah. I think the authors of Alan Wake have misread Cooper, or maybe they haven't misread him, but they seem to be placing their character in opposition to him. Yeah, for sure. Like, whatever it is, it definitely that Nightingale and Alan are presented very differently to how Cooper is presented. And I wonder why the light isn't enough. Why do we need to shoot them? That is also a good question. That's also a good question. I don't see why the light wouldn't be enough. But it's, I guess that, like, this light thing, now that we're having this conversation, it's very much like, not just like the light is good and the darkness is bad, but it's also being like, you shine a light on the darkness, which is to say that you reveal the truth of the darkness and its existence. But then once you shine a light on that darkness, once you like bring the truth to light, and I'm just reading what the game is giving me, I'm not necessarily agreeing with it, you then have to kill or vanquish that darkness. And yeah, that's what I'm picking up what they're putting down, and that's what I'm picking up. I'm not necessarily agreeing with it though.
You're gonna give me the manuscript or you'll be sorry.
No! Come back here! I swear I'll kill you if you hurt Alice! Do you hear me? Come back here!
He had Alice, and he wanted the manuscript because he thought it held some magical power. But I had no manuscript to give him. I had to get back to Barry and figure out my next move.
Okay, we got some manuscript pages.
On more than one occasion, Alice had tried to explain to me how it felt to be afraid of the dark. To her, darkness wasn't simply the absence of light, but something more tangible than that. It was something you could touch and feel. Worse than that, it was something with a mind of its own, something malicious and malign. For her, things changed when they were wrapped in darkness. They turned into something else, something foreign, and nothing was safe or innocent anymore. I'd never really understood what she meant, until now.
These people, he really thinks he's hashtag deep, Mr. Wake does. Best-selling author, Alan Wake. Okay. Mr. Best-selling author, how do I get down? Okay, here we go. Hey. Okay. Now, where am I going? Into this cave? No, that's just where it was. And I can't go down there, can I? So where am I going? I guess I can go back up, but like... Where do I go from here? Can I make that drop? I don't know if I can make that drop. Okay. I did. Men who are mediocre writers always think that they're great for some reason. The world really tells white men that every mediocre thing that they do is amazing. Oh.
Steve warned me about these traps. It hurt like hell. I was stuck.
Ah, shit! I keep wasting flare gun ammo when I really need it. By accident. Well, thank God that those traps are, like, glowing very clearly, huh? Sick flare attack that. Well, thank you. It was completely intentional and a very strategic move on my part for handling one single enemy as opposed to a group of enemies. Detective Nightingale illuminates truth and then shoots it. Yeah, totally. As does Alan Wake, the writer. Illuminates the truth. Yeah, there's just, yeah. I don't, and again, it feels very antithetical to a lot of what I personally really like about Lynch's work, which is that I think that, it's funny, it's ironic, because doesn't Alan start his narration with that quote from Stephen King about, like, the nature of mystery, and he says something about, like, how, you know, if you, like, solve the mystery, quote unquote, then it kind of, like, ruins it in a way. And I think that I remember that famously, David Lynch and Mark Frost, who was his co-creator and writer on Twin Peaks, never actually wanted to reveal who Laura Palmer's killer was. And I mean, I think that, like, you know, where the series ended up and stuff is great for a lot of reasons, but I can really see where they were coming from with that, and, like, why they didn't necessarily want to, like, reveal it. And yeah, I don't know, I just think it's like, but a lot of stuff in Lynch's work as well, I feel like people's engagement with a lot of it is like, oh, how do I find some kind of, like, crystallized meaning to this work? Like, what's the answer? Like, how do I explain Mulholland Drive? You know what I mean? And I think that fundamentally the work resists that. Like, there's no one answer. And he always, like, when I was saying that I really admire, like, his like, artistic philosophy and stuff like that, I think that he always really resisted that because, you know, again, people would often ask him, like, what does this mean? What did you intend with that? And he would just be like, no, I don't want to answer that question. Because it's all about, like, how people experience the art and how they interpret the art. And anyway, all of this is to say that, like, the truth is multiple and has you know, multiple things are true at the same time. And there is no one truth, and a lot of the time when it comes to art, you can't just, like, crystallize it into one meaning. And so for the thematics of this game to be so concerned with the idea of, like, bringing the truth to light and then vanquishing the darkness, and the truth is the darkness, and then vanquishing the darkness, there's, you know, I don't know if I'm vibing with that, is kind of what I'm saying, fundamentally. I also am lost, I'm trying to figure out how to get that fucking cabin. This is, again, why I would have really appreciated some kind of an objective marker, but it's okay. Figure it out. Ah, fuck. I didn't mean to press that. I wasted another fucking flare. Okay, well, here's a shitload of traps. Not sure if I've been here before, so this might be where I'm meant to be going. Oh, this looks new. Okay, slay. Okay, well, I'm closer, so that's good. Ah, there we go, manuscript page.
Sara didn't care about the legal threats Wake's agent had made. She let Wake go without argument, because there was something about him she couldn't quite put her finger on, something that reminded her of her father.
Woof.
She didn't think Wake would hurt his wife. Then she thought about the way he waded into Hartman, that hair-trigger rage flaring up without warning.
How do I get across there? Exactly. Oh, I can see some rocks down there. Something that reminded her of her father. Barfs. You're so real for that. Oh, I'm dead. I guess that wasn't the way down.
No! Come back here! I swear I'll kill you if you hurt Alice! Do you hear me? Come back here!
Great, it's starting
he had
from
Alice, and he wanted the manuscript because he thought it held some magical power. But I had no manuscript to give him. I had to get back to Barry and figure out my next move.
Sorry guys, I know that watching me get lost is not always the most fun streaming experience, but now that I've somewhat seen this before, hopefully it will go quicker this time. Okay, yeah, and we got a bunch of traps here, and ah, shit.
What the hell?
Rusty warned me about these traps. It hurt me. I was stuck.
manuscript page. And what, do I just gotta keep heading this way, I guess? Right, yeah, I do, I guess. And just cross some more logs. Ah, fuck. Just press the wrong button again. I can see now that the reason why he does that is because the dodge button and the sprint button are the same button. Okay. Up here, I'm guessing? Again, what I'm really getting is that Alan Wake hates the working class. He really is not Alan Wake. It's true. Shit, I'm dead. I'm dead! If it goes all the way back, I'll... Okay, thank God. I wasn't sure what I was ready to threaten to do, so... What do I got? Yeah, I'm out with my flare gun, which is not good. Me accidentally setting off flares earlier really hasn't helped this situation. Alan, why are you so bad at everything? Why are you such a loser? You know what I'm saying? Okay, there's a light, I think. Thank God. Okay. Ah! Shit. Again, I can't even really hate on them for terrorizing him, because I think he deserves to be terrorized. It's just annoying when I am playing as him, and therefore I am also being terrorized. Manuscript page.
The night had been one desperate situation after another. I was exhausted, and my body felt as though it had been chewed up and spat out. The flashlight was heavy in my hand, and each pull of the trigger sent a painful shock up my arm. But I was finally out of the woods, and things were looking up. That's when I heard the chainsaw.
That's funny. Things were looking up. That's when I heard the chainsaw. Oh, hunting rifle, is it? Okay. I guess a lot of the, like, walking through the woods and the woods being full of dark presences and stuff like that is interesting as well, in the sense that a lot of the Twin Peaks stuff is like, you know, about the darkness in the woods and how there's always been some kind of, like, unspeakable evil.
I had heard the plane fall. It made no sense. It was clear that it had just fallen here, but it was very old and obviously hadn't flown in decades. Looking at it sent a shiver down my spine.
Nice one, Sherlock. Okay. Where is it? So that pull down here and then okay, I don't really understand where it's trying to get me to go, so I'm just gonna move on from that. I'm sure I'll be fine. That's the way I came from, right? Ooh, a flare. Okay, cool, we're on track. I will be running into the light. That was not a good enough light, I guess. I was just trying to run away from my problems, but they came back for me. So let that be a lesson, guys. Avoidance is not healthy in the world. I get where I'm going? Ooh, okay. I think I might almost be there. Working men. They're so scary. So there's definitely nothing going on in this game about Alan Wake's feelings of inadequacy as a husband and also as a upper middle class man who writes books and probably knows how to do nothing with his hands. Oh. I'm sure that this is fine. What is that exactly? Like some kind of sludge. Dark sludge. Darkness sludge. Okay, so I thought that this was gonna be where my final destination, but I don't think so.
The logging site was a mess. The modular office had been pushed off the cliff. Deputy Thornton climbed up from the wreckage excited, breathing hard from the exertion. Nobody there. It's weird. Don't you think that's weird? Bored, Mulligan let out a mighty snort. Hell, it's always weird, Thornton. Just a question of sorting out what kind of weird it is this time around.
Looks like I possibly missed a lot of pages, but that's okay. What am I kicking? I just pressed kick without even knowing what I was kicking, so that's really a good sign. Oh shit, yeah, I think it looks like I did. Oh, or did I? No, it went back. So, I'm confused about the order in which these are in, but that's fine.
When Barry saw the darkness attack the visitor center, it made him a believer. The men Al said he'd shot, they hadn't been just locals on crank. Somehow the world had changed, like the channel had been switched without warning. You think you're watching a sitcom, and you're really watching a horror show. When the birds started attacking the cabin, Barry wasn't surprised, just terrified.
Okay. I don't understand why the darkness sludge is so dramatic, you know? Like it seems pretty non-threatening, and then I just like destroy it from existence with my flashlight and it's like screaming. And it just seems a little dramatic to me, you know what I mean? So perhaps this... No, reach the top of the mill is the instruction, so I keep going up. There's a ladder. Yeah, so of course one of the big plot things in Twin Peaks is also that there is a lumber mill, and the lumber mill is at the time of the TV show in possession of Josie Packard, who is the wife of the now deceased previous owner, Mr. Packard, and Benjamin Horn, who is a horrible capitalist pig, and also Catherine Martell, who was Mr. Packard's sister, are trying to plot to destroy the mill and steal the land that the mill is on in order to sell it to real estate developers and to gentrify Twin Peaks. So there's actually a pretty interesting political narrative going on in that regard in Twin Peaks as well. I mean, there's like a lot going on, but there's like an actual political narrative about like evil real estate developers going on in Twin Peaks, which is interesting. Okay. I appreciate that, buddy. Like, maybe the darkness is just trying to live its life, and maybe Alan Wake is the problem. Yeah, I agree. I'm also not gonna let him live down the fact that he's terrified of, like, workers. Literally all of these, like, enemies are just, like, the guys who work at the lumber mill, possessed by some kind of unspeakable darkness. And I think that that might be a little bit classist of Mr. Wake. Especially if he wrote the meta-narrative.
Shadows stirred and the wind picked up as I ran through the forest. I felt the dark presence turning its gaze toward me. Then the moonlight was blotted out by dark shadows that raced violently across the ground, moving too swiftly to be natural.
Wow, judgmental.
Darkness gathered between the trees and melted again to reveal the Taken. No natural path had brought them here.
If it is true that Alan Wake 2's vibe is like, maybe Alan Wake is actually the problem, then I am very excited to get to it, and I think that it will have been, like, fun to have played this game and to kind of have that context a little bit more. That's another Life is Strange kind of moment. I gotta know if Donut team behind Life is Strange ever played Alan Wake. I really gotta know. Because we know that they watch Twin Peaks because they very lovingly and very intentionally drop various things in the game, including Chloe's license plate that are like, "Hi, we love Twin Peaks. Here's a reference to Twin Peaks," which I really love them for. More like Alan Woke, liberal pro-mams. You're not the only one who's made that joke today, Dan, but welcome to the stream. And unfortunately, Alan is not woke. Alan Wake, more like Alan is not woke, is the joke, really. He's really not How be you? Yeah, not bad. Thanks, Dan. I know it's been a couple of months since I've streamed, just been super busy, and I mean, yeah, it's been a bit up and down. I haven't been feeling great mentally, which is one of the reasons why I'm coming to you with a fresh new haircut, because I just kind of cut off a bunch of my own hair in the middle of the night, and then it looked terrible. And also I was on my period. I'm sure that had nothing to do with it. And then the next day I went to the walk-in barbers, and I was like, with like a hoodie on over my head because I was so embarrassed about how it looked. And then I was like, please fix my hair. And anyway, now that's why we're here. So it's been a wild 2 months. Clearly, I don't know if that's indicative of my general mental state, but yeah. How are you? How have you been?
Barry?
Ow! The porch is covered with birds. They've got all Hitchcock on me.
Stay
a
out of
Hitchcock
sight.
reference.
I'm on my way. Don't open the door.
What am I, crazy?
Stay hidden. I'll be there soon. Just make sure you keep the lights on.
Yeah, I don't know, still a bit all over the place, but I'm having fun right now, playing Alan Wake and chatting to you guys, so, you know. Like Agent Dale Cooper says, every day give yourself a little present. Today, I give you the present of streaming. I had to give myself
I still
the
had to
present
reach
of
Barry at
streaming.
the cabin, but at least I was out of the woods.
Okay. We're in a trailer park now, because I have no doubt that some kind of other weird classist shit is gonna go down. If that's the case.
I'd have to get the car from the locked garage. It would get me back to Barry faster, and the headlights were a welcome bonus.
Okay, but I gotta unlock the gate, I'm assuming. And I'm assuming that the keys are gonna be in here. Oh, this is the laboratories. Oh, manuscript page. Where it belongs, in the toilet.
The FBI agent's command froze me in place. I considered surrender. It was all falling apart anyway. I could give in, let someone else deal with it. But it felt all wrong. Call it instinct. His posture. The way he held the gun. He was no friend. Shots ringing in my ears, I leaped for the hole in the fence and stumbled into the darkness beyond.
Nightingale fires awake. Okay, yeah. We haven't actually met Agent Nightingale yet, which is a funny name. Possibly also a Twin Peaks reference because of the song "The Nightingale" by Julie Cruz, which plays in the first episode of Twin Peaks. It's a banger. It's a banger. And well, a lot of those songs are like written by David Lynch and Angelo Badalamenti and then performed by Julie Cruz. But yeah, it's a banger, and it plays in like at the end of the first episode of Twin Peaks. So once again, they're really going ham. Ooh, hunting rifle ammo in the toilet. I don't know what that's doing there, but...
I had to find the key to the garage.
I'm looking for the key to the garage, Alan. What do you think I'm doing? There we go. They were in the toilet for some reason.
A story is not a machine that does what you tell it. A story is a beast with a life of its own. You can create it, shape it, but as the story grows, it starts wanting things of its own. Change one thing and you set off a chain reaction of events that spreads through the whole thing. The characters have to be true to themselves. The events need to follow a logic that fits the story. A single flaw and the magic is gone. The story dies. Alice dies.
Okay. Sorry, just catching up with chat. Oh, fuck. I'm so sorry that you're getting evicted. That's really fucked up. I'm so sorry. Have you got like some kind of housing plan for that point onwards? Like, is there somewhere you can stay? It's really shit. I'm so sorry, pal. Yeah, I mean, I also want to put every landlord in a big box and throw them off a fucking hill. I think we should get together and do that tomorrow. Shit. What is this, Silent Hill 2? Finding ammo in the toilet. Yeah, I have yet to play Silent Hill 2. It's on my list as potentially a stream game. So perhaps soon I shall be finding ammo in the toilet in another video game on twitch.com/GameAssistYT. Oh yeah, I love having a car in a game. That's what I love. I'm not even remotely joking. If there's one thing I love, it's driving in video games. Like, I love it so much, I can't even tell you. Oh, okay. I don't know why there are all these obstructions in the middle of the road, but fine. Did one of my headlights go out? What's going on? Okay, well, this driving gameplay is a bit dicey, but that's fine. Hey, here we go, we're back on the road. Burning the midnight oil again. Sitting out here listening to the wind. I was cold, I miss you, my old friend. Burning the midnight oil again. Sorry, that always gets stuck in my head at times like this. And it's the song that plays in Chloe's dad's car at the end of... in Life is Strange Before the Storm. Okay, I think I've gone the wrong way. But again, this navigation system is not very helpful. So, how do I get back to Barry? Like, what? Where do I go? Yeah, I hope that your housemates and their cats are gonna be okay. If there's anything I could do to help them, let me know. The fandom is insanely ableist. Of Silent Hill 2? Okay, looks like I gotta go this way. I do love driving in a game, but this is not the best driving in a game I've ever seen. I must admit. Is there another map view or no? Okay. Because it doesn't look like I can go that way. So do I just... Is this it? Well, I got very excited about driving in the game, and then for some reason they put a bunch of roadblocks in my way, and that wasn't really very fun, so... Anyway. I guess I pulled up here, and that was where I was meant to pull up. Didn't make it very clear, though. Yeah, okay, this is where... What's his name was before. Trying to remember his name. Randy? Or something? Okay, and then how do I get back to Barry from here, though? That's... Is this it? That seems locked. Okay, well there's a lot of locked doors going on and drop hazard. Yeah, I can see that. Really some kind of like map view or some kind of something would be really great. What do I go this way? Maybe I shouldn't have ditched the car. It's too late now. Sure, yeah, no, I'm glad that obviously you got other folks as well, but if there's anything I can do, then happy to help. Okay, looks like I would have had to ditch the car up here anyway. Very dramatic music for like no reason that I can
The
discern.
flare gun was probably the best weapon I could imagine against the dark things I was facing.
Uh-huh. Is this the cabin? Or what? This looks familiar, but I can't tell if it's the one that Barry's in. I don't think it is.
Crime and punishment. The cancer and cure of civilization. Some crimes are impossible to punish, especially in Night Springs.
It's just another episode of Night Springs. Can't you see I'm watching Night Springs right now? So rude.
So, you're confessing to killing that guy, huh? Why?
You guys are so rude. I'm trying to watch TV right now. This is my downtime.
Assault the victim's head area repeatedly with the weapon of choice being a pair of bare fists. Wow, that sentence really flows, huh?
Okay, well, I can't seem to get my dose of Night Springs because you guys are just so fucking rude. Jeez Louise. Okay. Sue me for trying to just watch an episode of Night Springs. That's me when I'm watching Simpsons and a man with a sledgehammer breaks into my home. I know. Like, who do they think they are?
It was the kidnapper.
You son of a bitch! Where's my wife?
Enough horseplay, Wake. You deliver the manuscript, and you can have your woman back. Simple as that.
I don't... Listen. I'm gonna need time to finish it. I still need to write the ending. I need a week.
Not done?
I need a week.
2 2 days. The old Bright Falls coal mine is nearby. You can find it easy, city boy. The main building, there at noon. You bring the manuscript, you'll get your wife. If not, well, get me?
Yes, I get you.
Damn, I can't believe I missed tonight's episode of Night Springs. You know, there are some things that are like cool elements, which is why I'd be pretty excited to see them like being expanded on maybe better in Alan Wake 2. Like, because I do think that like some of the meta narrative about like writing the game as you're playing the game, and like the little TV segments and the little radio segments.
Barry had talked about birds over the phone.
Like all of that is pretty, you know, fun, and like there are definitely some cool elements there, but again, it's just not like cohering into a thing that is working very well for me at the moment. Save Barry from the birds. Okay.
I am so glad you're here. A couple of them got in here before I blocked the chimney. This isn't normal. These birds are weird.
Fuck. Shit. These fucking birds, man. I gotta defeat the birds. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. Where are the birds? Sorry guys, I'm real focused on defeating the birds right now. Okay, I could definitely see how the flare gun is gonna come.
You can open the door now.
There we go.
They're gone.
Whew.
Hey, Al. I'm sorry for thinking you were having a psychotic episode, man.
Wow, what an apology.
I sent Barry to the town to ask around about a man fitting the kidnapper's description. He'd go through the archives of the local paper. Perhaps he could learn something. Anything about the island and the cabin that had disappeared. The man wanted a manuscript. I had to try to write him one to get Alice back. For me, the supernatural had always been nothing but a metaphor for the human psyche, a tool to use in writing fiction. Now, it was happening for real, and I couldn't put a single word on paper.
Wow, this sure seems like a nightmare that could have been avoided if you weren't such an asshole.
Barry Wheeler speaking.
This is Rose.
Rose?
I found Mr. Wake's pages.
In other words, if you guys are like too cynical and closed off to the supernatural, then this is what's in store for you. So watch out.
Oh, you sweet, brilliant girl.
Could you and Mr. Wake come get them? I live in the trailer park outside the town.
We'll be there in less
She
than
doesn't
an
sound
hour.
like she's doing
See you
good.
soon.
She sounds a little bit,
Have a great day.
hypnotized, huh?
Hope you come back soon. Welcome to the
Oh Dear Diner.
Good girl.
Wow. Just turning that down in case it's copyrighted music. Okay, now we have another weird dramatic zoom out. And I'm assuming that that's the end of episode 2. Because this is exactly the same visual technique that was used at the end of episode 1. Cool.